Poetry is as much grief's child as it is joy's. It can make you rise or cry with equal felicity. This is Sunil Bhandari, and you are listening to Uncut Poetry. The life and times of a song. Maybe we could requisition God for a background score for our lives, a divine orchestra ready for every cue. So, a song while I wait for you, something like a robin's tiny chirp from before the dawn breaks, impatient for light. They could be variations of one theme for the times I'm with you, for joy is restless, wants to say the same thing in so many ways. There will be one fragment of a note when I'm hurt because of you, like a temple broken after its prayer departs. And the times when things just stray, when we are drifting without presence, the music then reminds us the moment is all we've got. Maybe we could have the oboe or the flute when we are synced into each other, with your head on my shoulder when we belong without claiming any right. But when one of us passes on to some place the other can't reach, the song the heavens would provide would be tough to conjure. For how could something broken be repaired by a song? For how could we hum something when everything is lost? So I would ask God to leave grief alone. I know He'd like to help me cope, but I gently tell Him, this far and no more. So I would ask God to leave grief alone. I know He'd like to help me cope, but I gently tell Him, this far and no more. I can never forget the Sharukh Khan movie Hoon Na, when a celestial orchestra comes in and he automatically starts singing as soon as he sees the gorgeous Sushmita Sen being her ethereal self in incredible sarees. And I remember thinking, this is a superb idea, and what wouldn't I do to have this facility from God? But alas, as the heavens never listened in to my desires, I curate my own music for my varying moods. I play music to the beat of my breath, as I brush my teeth, as I move from one place to another, as I work on a desk. It's soft when I want to concentrate on other things. It's loud when I'm drifting through life's unavoidable drudgery, and the decibels become ruthless when I'm headbanging with issues. Every morning as I go out for my jog, I run into an orchestra of shrill joy. I doubt if anything ever receives the welcome which birds give to every dawn. It's the universe's urging to living beings to realize we are alive, which also means being alive to all possibilities. When I was growing and had a house in Tribeni in Bengal and had the dark river Hooghly winding by, every night at 9 I was out in the veranda with my battery-operated radio to hear a sampling of old and current Hindi songs. It was always curated for a dulcet mood, just right for the time before bed. I used to put the radio on the concrete balustrade and then jump to sit alongside. And I knew in the rows of houses, demarcated by flower beds and vegetable patches, several of my friends were doing exactly what I was. And the river flowed by silently behind me as both of us eased into the folding night. In my school and college days, to discover a song which we fell in love with meant we should know the lyrics to hum along. Remember, those were pre-internet days and there was nothing available on tap. But for $1, we used to get cyclostyle booklets printed on the most abysmally cheap paper with the lyrics of the songs of the particular movie we wanted. And we used to memorize the lyrics to heart. And that's how I discovered songs to be poetry set to music. Today, for Uncut Poetry, I cannot think my poems without a musical underpinning. If the musical notes and my poetry mesh well, I feel heady. I love hearing Call Me By Your Name or Bringing the Storm Home, for example, because the music seems to have been created just for those poems. I feel this. Do you too? I see musician friends create music the way I write poetry, as a calling, as a compulsion, as survival. And I can imagine the experience of writing musical notes and lyrics to be as gorgeously uplifting as finishing a poem, making its way into tunes after working out of split arteries. As I hear the incredible thump and vigor and magic of Varaha Rupam from Kantara, as I sit on my desk and write this, I know music as transcendental, something from beyond, something to take us beyond. This is Sunil Bhandari, and you were listening to Uncut Poetry. Did you know that I've started a newsletter called The Uncuts? It's a weekly and it is full of grace and music and art and poetry. Get the link in the show notes. And did you like this episode? If you did, you must share it with someone you love. And why not follow Uncut Poetry on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Gaana, JioSaavn, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. See you next week.